This is The Toss-Up, where an expert line panel dissects the hottest stories within the world of sports. From some of the nation's strongest college programs right here in Bloomington to the games and moments that capture the world's attention. It's all right here on The Toss-Up. No one wants to see their season end with a loss, especially when you're this close to a championship. You all know how the Indiana men's soccer team season ended last year. They went home with no hardware to show for their historically great season. But sometimes that sour taste left in your mouth acts as a sense of motivation for the next season. It makes you hungry, and that hunger is something that cannot be manufactured. But when it's there, it can be a difference maker. Who knows where this season will end up for IU? But for right now, they're playing with that hunger. Hi, everybody. This is The Toss-Up. I'm your host, Michael Dugan, and joining me on the panel this week, we have not one, not two, but three of our very own IUSTV men's soccer beat reporters. We have Maya Engel, Austin GHIRARDELli, and Juan Alvarado. Are we ready to talk some IU men's soccer?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
My
Super
first
excited.
question, Maya, I will start with you. What has improved most about this team since last season?
You know, Michael, this season I'm really liking the depth that IU has in its roster. They did lose 2 starters, and they were key players, Mason Toye and Grant Lillard. But they also have 8 players who have some experience playing for the youth U.S. men's national team. And that just really goes to show how much experience and talent these guys had. And for example, Griffin Dorsey, he was in Florida for playing for the national team for the VCU game. And the Hoosiers still managed to score 5 goals without, so far, one of their main goal scorers of this season. So I'm loving the roster this year for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, I agree with Maya. I think the added depth to this season's team is going to help them further on in the season. But as far as the chemistry goes, they lost a couple players, but they kept a good young core of that team. And that's going to be really important the farther they go along in the season. But what's improved me the most is the individual development of some of these players. Like, have we seen Gutman? He was a class player last season, but now talked about as top 1, 2, 3 players in the country. And all the way down that roster, all these players have trained, gotten better over the summer, and it's really starting to click at the beginning of the season.
For me, like you guys say, the replacements of Mason Toye and Grant Lillard have been a great part for IU this season, but also the attitude of the team. It surprised me a lot. Seeing IU coming from behind this past Tuesday against Notre Dame on the road, that was very impressive for me to watch. I didn't think IU was going to make it, to be honest, but they shut me down. They found a way to score 2 goals and beat Notre Dame in overtime.
Now, Juan, I'll go back to you for this next question. What has not improved since last season, or if anything, has kind of regressed a little bit?
I mean, IU's the #2 team in the country. I don't see a lot of room for not improving. IU can only grow. It has done a great job of keeping its lines clean, keeping its lines organized, and becoming a very consistent team.
Yeah, this team's, it's weird to think, but they are getting better, and it's really hard to be better than almost a perfect season as we almost saw last season. If it wasn't for that 1-goal loss in the national championship, things could have been different. But like Juan said, the main story here is just the team growing, and they'll continue to grow throughout the season, and we'll just have to see how it plays out.
We could say IU's not undefeated anymore, unlike last season.
Yeah, that helps. That goes a long way, getting that first loss out of the way early.
That's true. I'm kind of going to nitpick here a bit because there's one thing that I have noticed that makes me a little worried about this season, and that's just the fact that the Hoosiers have already allowed 3 goals to be scored on them in 6 games. And 3 goals isn't much, but compared to last season, it took the Hoosiers, I believe, 16 games before they got their 3rd goal scored on them. So I'm a little worried about that, but I do trust Mason Toye, I do trust Trey Muse in the goal and everything. So I'd say that's the small detail of how we're not improving.
Now, they have an enormous game in the rearview mirror up in South Bend against Notre Dame. That's already through. But what games, Maya, I'll go to you on this one, from this point forward do they have circled?
Conference-wise, definitely Michigan State. Obviously, they're the other top-ranked Big Ten team. And then also Wisconsin. Coming up Sunday, the Hoosiers are facing Wisconsin. And last season, we ended up going into double overtime against them. I don't think anyone really expected it to be as good of a game as it was. And luckily, we came out with a 2-1 win. So I think this year, Wisconsin, they're just as good of a team as they were last year. And it's going to be a tough match for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, going into the Wisconsin game, they're starting their Big Ten conference, but they still have a few non-conference games to look out for. They have Butler coming to town this year, where they went up and got a tie last year, 0-0. So that's going to be a good challenge, as well as Kentucky, another top-ranked team. And it just goes to show what Coach Yeagley thinks of this team already. They've scheduled 5 of their 6 teams have been ranked. So having this powerful non-conference is going to help because everyone knows how strong the Big Ten is.
For me, IU is such a big soccer program that every team wants to beat. They know they have a target on their backs, and they know they have to prepare for every single game. But if I were to pick a game I'm looking forward to, it will be the Michigan State one. Every Hoosier fan will remember that penalty shootout we had last year. And it's amazing how IU got to go to the College Cup. And it's going to be even more amazing to see how Michigan State is going to respond to their match this season, and potentially the match that is going to set the Big Ten tournament and the part of the bracket that the Big Ten is in for the NCAA College Cup.
Now, all things considered, if they stay healthy, that's a huge if in all sports, this team should win the Big Ten, right, Juan?
Yeah, I think IU with Michigan State, like I say, Michigan State versus IU versus Michigan State, it's going to be the match to watch. It's going to determine who's going to be not only the best from the Midwest, the best from the Big Ten, but potentially the top 1, top 2 team in the country.
They should win the Big Ten, but you just never know. They didn't win it last year, and they should have won it. They came in second the last 3 years, and really they've only won the conference once in the last 10 years. So as good as IU are, they should win it, but you just never know in a conference like the Big Ten.
Exactly, like you said, they should win it, and fingers crossed that they do, but they do have teams like Michigan State who it's going to be a tough battle. And I think if they do beat Michigan State, they can beat any team in the Big Ten Conference, and they can get the Big Ten championship, but it's up in the air right now. I think it really comes down to that Michigan State game.
Yeah, all it is speculation at this point. All right, we're going to toss the break real quick, but coming up after the break, our panel will play Tell Me Why, and we're going to do our lightning round, so stick with us. Welcome back to the Toss-Up. We're talking IU men's soccer here, but before we continue, let's toss it over to Austin, who is at the media wall. Austin?
Thanks, Michael. The Hoosiers have been tearing it up on the offensive end so far this season, but it hasn't been just 1 or 2 guys carrying the load. It's been a team effort. Over their first 6 games, 7 different players have scored a goal. 7. This offensive balance can be seen when looking at the stat sheet for IU, as they've gotten goals from each level of the lineup. Andrew Gutman has led the way so far for the Hoosiers, as he has 3 goals thus far, as does A.J. Palazzolo. The sophomore defender has been a key player for IU after returning from an injury he suffered in 2017. If the Hoosiers are hoping to make a return to the College Cup and have a shot at the national championship, they'll need to lean on that balanced attack and keep firing on all cylinders. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Austin. Great suit. Absolutely love the jacket. All right, guys, we're going to play Tell Me Why here. So I'm going to give you a statement, and you're going to tell me why or why not that is the case. The first statement is IU will go back to the College Cup. Juan, we'll go to you.
Yes, they will. IU has a strong defense, a strong offense. It's a well-balanced team, and it will depend on how mature they are in order to know whether or not they'll be back, but I think they will.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Juan. IU will return to the College Cup with everything he said, but also because this team knows how to win. I mean, we saw they were down against Notre Dame, and they came back and won. This is a team that didn't trail at all last season, and they lost to Wake Forest at the beginning of the year. So this team has been down, and they know what it takes to win, so I think they'll be there.
I'm agreeing with you guys. I think IU definitely will go back to the College Cup this year for a couple reasons. They have the experience. I think them being in the College Cup last year gave them they kind of dipped their toes in it. Maybe they weren't quite ready for that type of intensity and competition, but now they are, and they have the talent, and they will make it back to the College Cup.
All right, in January, February, we're looking back on the season, and they did not make it to the College Cup. It will be because?
It'll be because we lacked, IU lacked the maturity to make the final play to score the goals, but I think it's very unlikely, and IU will be there playing the College Cup.
If they don't make the College Cup, it's just there's too many good teams out there. I mean, last year Stanford won the national championship as a 9 seed. So at one point, IU's going to face a tough team in the quarterfinals, and they'll just have to get through it.
They won't make the College Cup if we see some bad things in their offense. I know in the Notre Dame game, at least, there were some parts where they didn't look like they're connecting as well as the Hoosier offense really does, and then just finishing it, really not having a strong number 9 guy could definitely hurt the Hoosiers into making it to the College Cup.
Now, we know that this team is loaded from top to bottom, but tell me why their keeper is the best in the country.
Because when you look at Trey Muse, you are basically seeing at a professional goalkeeper. He's pro-ready, he's so big, he's strong, he's secure, he's all what you need inside the 3 posts.
Yeah, I don't really need to say much on this one. I mean, Trey's freshman stats speak for themselves, but the way he's continued to develop this season is why he's the best keeper in the country.
Last season, Trey did lead the NCAA with 18 shutouts, and I really think that just says enough itself.
All right, time for the lightning round. Your answers have to be 10 seconds or shorter. Juan, we're going to you first. Who has been the team MVP so far?
Andrew Gutman, hands down.
Andrew Gutman, hands down.
Andrew Gutman, hands down.
Is there anyone else that it could be? Just a name, no explanation.
AJ Palazzo, for the amount
AJ
of goals he has
Palazzo.
scored and how crucial he has been for the team too.
Trevor Swartz, same reason.
Trey Muse.
Most improved player has been?
I'm going to say Trevor Swartz. Last season, he only played in about 9 games, didn't start in any of them. This season, started all the games, already has 2 goals, one of them a game winner. Definitely improving.
I'm going to go with Reese Buckmaster. The way he's been able to defend this year is really what has gotten him the most improved for me.
Spencer Glass, one of the most fantastic crosses in college soccer, and even Andrew Goodman agreed on it.
All right, yes or no, you can't be in the middle on this. Is this the best team in the country?
No. Wake Forest is right now the best team in the country, stats-wise. They are undefeated.
Couldn't agree with Juan. No, Wake Forest, best team, all rankings, but also beat IU in the beginning of the season. Can't get past that one.
Technically, no. According to the polls, Wake Forest is.
All right, so it's that time of the show. It's time for last word. You get to pick one word to describe Indiana men's soccer this season, right now, going forward, whatever it is, it's up to you. What is your last word, Juan? We'll start with you on this IU men's soccer season.
Fantastic.
Success.
Determination.
Okay, those are all powerful words. All right, well, that does it for the show this week. Be sure to continue the discussion on our Twitter page at IUSTV Sports and on Facebook at IUSTV Sports. You can always give any suggestions for the show and ask any questions that you may have. Toss it up. Find out if we'll catch it. We'll see you next time.